Oh, hello there, yes. I think it's going to be a wrapping up warm day today. It'll be nice. I don't have a lot to do as I've had some cancellations, so it'll be nice just to enjoy the day today. Yesterday's big news obviously was David Cameron back. Quite unexpected. A lot less unexpected was Suella Braverman going. And the right-wing press today, the press, one must say, I suppose, are well, muted about the whole thing. They are naturally going to support the Conservatives through pretty much thick and thin, and generally the jury is out. The sort of opinion pieces from the papers are sort of not exactly ecstatic about things, but everybody knows that the Conservatives have to go somewhere. They are just literally dying in the polls. They are down to about a rump of 25% of people, and these people won't go anywhere. This is what the Conservatives have always relied upon, is that they can suck up votes from elsewhere. Think about the National Front and racism in the 80s, the BNP and racism in, well, the late 80s, early 90s, or indeed the whole Farage UKIP Brexit thing. The Conservatives simply taxed that way and mopped up those votes. You know, we've been hearing a lot from the commentary, and I'll come back to them in just a second, about the real concerns of the British people about small boats and everything. But this is realistically a sort of manufactured thing in the media themselves, fighting these just mindless culture wars over and over. Isn't a vote winner. You know, you don't realistically win elections by simply saying to people, oh, well, those other people, if they get in, they'll be really bad. Yeah, there's only a limited number of times that you can scare people with Jeremy Corbyn, and big business and the media generally aren't going to be in any way, shape or form terrified of Keir Starmer's Labour Party. So even if Keir Starmer has no policy platform or whatsoever, which is really close to the truth anyway, they will get in, and the press will have to accommodate that. I mean, some of the signs perhaps of this is stuff that we're already seeing. Probably the key one will be if the Sun newspaper actually makes noises about people voting Labour next time, which they might do. That might be the signal the big shift, like it did before Blair. But we've seen things like GB News, who are wanting to buy. The owners there are wanting to buy the Telegraph, so they've kind of shed various people like Deacon Blue, Calvin Robinson, Lawrence Fox, and now it would appear, according to Deacon Blue, that Dan Wootton's definitely gone, and they are repositioning themselves in the market with a much kind of softer, if I can vaguely put it that way, sort of line from people like Patrick Christie's. Talk TV have done the same thing with their mix of lineup, and at least in part it shows the limits of that audience. You can't simply go on losing millions every year with GB News if you're going to end up with at least 5 years of a Labour Party, or likely 5 years of a Labour Party, who will be as right-wing as any Labour Party in history. Why bother sinking all that money into propaganda? Which leads us neatly on, of course, to the rump of the commentariat and where exactly they go. I wouldn't be at all surprised if Dan Grimes isn't, inverted commas, let go, because he seems incapable of doing anything other than simply coming out with the standard I'm a racist Geordie boy me sort of line on everything. And someone like that, potentially with that new media landscape or that new political landscape, would look like a liability. The rest of them, your Peter Whittles et al., it's hard to say where they go. I mean, they can carry on this tiny rump, but they have to rely on some form of funding, of course, because otherwise it just isn't worth their while staying in the business. So who's going to pay for Peter Whittle? Who is going to be the person that's going to maintain this, how to describe them, extremely right-wing rump on the side of media? And they can only realistically look to that American evangelical money, which means that we'll end up with, this probably a very, very hard line anti-abortion, anti-trans stance. And again, you can do that, but it's debatable on the British media landscape if that's going to make much of an impact. We've got Mrs. Top Ticker herself, who's going to come in as the minister for saying things about woke stuff. Absolutely meaningless drivel. Again, it's just designed to soak up those votes. We'll hear the same sort of stuff about the blob and everything, but it feels so much like this Conservative Party is a busted flush, and everyone is basically probably thinking what's going to happen after the next election. We will see. Anyway, that was too much of a ramble, so apologies for that. But we'll have to see exactly where things fall into line with this. But I would not be at all surprised if those, you have to use the word baying voices on the right, are a lot quieter from now on. We are into the dead certainty of a new political landscape. And if the Tories can't react to that and decide to pull themselves apart, that will be their problem. Anyway, do have a lovely Tuesday. Stay warm.